Now, I've shown these before, and y'all, I'm sure my mic's getting a little wind on it. I'm sorry about that. It's a cold and gross day out here, and I'm going to try to get this done really quick. But this, I've shown this before. It is the gate opener so that, like, when the UPS man pulls up to my gate, he can pull this handle and open the gate. Now, the first way that I made this was I had a wire that went from here all the way up to my gate, but what would happen is lightning would hit up here, and it would use that as an antenna, and it would blow out my gate opener. The last wire that I had, it got a short in it somewhere, and it wouldn't work anymore. So I decided I would go wireless, and so this is what I've done. This is just a wireless remote. I'll show you how you can turn it into this. Now that we're back inside out of that gross weather, let me show you this. Now, we're not actually making the one that we're going to put out there because that one's already out there. But I need another one. So I'm going to show you how I made that first one. So this is a remote, and I've already taken the screws out of the back of it. I'll link these in the description for you. But now realize that you'll have to have a remote that works with your gate opener. You may have to buy one from the company, or mine is a gate opening system that I built. I've got lots of videos on all that stuff. This one is 433 megahertz, and I know it works with my system. So you have to get one that's the right frequency at least. So you take this apart, the top comes out, and all we're trying to do is get to this board. We don't need any of these other parts. I'm going to go ahead and take the battery out. And whatever your remote looks like, it'll have a board in it, and it'll have switches on it. And here's the 4 switches. And it could be that you just have a single button. But this one I need to use A, so it's this one right here that I'm going to be soldering to. And the pins are on each side of that switch, here and here, that I'm going to solder to. The other thing I'm going to need is a reed switch, and I have another video explaining what a reed switch is if you have never seen one. Alright, so I'm going to solder it on here like this. I need to make sure that my wires aren't too long. These are actually kind of long, because you don't want to short onto anything else. And I've pre-tinned these. That just means I've taken a little bit of solder and applied it to the ends of these. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dab of solder right where I want to put that wire. Just like that. And then the same on the other side. Now I should be able to just lay this wire on there and melt that solder. Alright, that's got that side. I always find this hard to do on these little circuits. Alright, so that's got both of my sides connected. This is a little waterproof enclosure that I made. I 3D printed it. And so we're going to run our wire outside of that. Alright, so there we are. We just slide that down into there. Stick our battery in. Alright, so that's got us in the case like that, and then the back goes on like that, and then you screw it to the post like that with this hole down. That keeps any water from running in there, and any water that did get in would just run out this hole down here. Now this needs to go to our reed switch, and we'll do that next. Now this reed switch is a little different than most. It actually has a normally open and a normally closed side. So let's test that. This one right here is this longer one. Right here is the normally closed, and then this one is the normally open. So that's the one we want. So we're going to go ahead and trim this off. I'll link these in the description also, but you're probably better off just using one that doesn't have the extra leg on it. And that's the more common way to find these. The nice thing about these are that they're waterproof, and you activate them with a magnet. I have another video that shows you how to use these. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this leg back around so that they're both pointing the same direction. And I have another 3D printed piece here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put those wires on there, and then we're going to slide them up in there like that. And then seal the end of it. That'll keep our connections from getting wet. Unfortunately, I lost the video on soldering the wire to the reed switch, but you just take the wires, and you saw where I had the reed switch with the one leg bent back, and you attach one wire to one end of the reed switch and the other wire to the other end of the reed switch. Doesn't matter which wire goes where. And then slide that up into here, and then fill it with some hot glue. Now this is a 3D printed piece right here, which you're not going to have. You could just use a little piece of tubing and just seal both ends of it with some hot glue, and it'd be the same thing. We're going to test it. Bring it near the reed switch, and it's working. Okay, so here you can see there is the reed switch that we made, and here is the magnet up there, and you just pull this down. You pull the arm over here, pull the arm down, the magnet gets close to it. I don't know if you can hear the gate opening. Alright, so that gives you an overview of the installation on this. You may have to come up with a way to make use some type of a lever like that. I do have videos on how I made those without this type of switching in there. I'll try to link that in the description for you. Hope this was interesting to you. Thank you for watching.